Hello, my dear students. We have stopped with the phylum Coelenterata, where we have understood about the alternation of generation, then about the nidoblast, what is metagenesis, then what is polyp, medusa, and their general examples with their common name and the general name. Now let us understand that about the next phylum Ctenophora. What is that? Phylum Ctenophora. Which is also named as, commonly it is named as sea walnuts or comb jellies. You seen the walnuts? Walnuts might have seen, right? So the similar shape even this Ctenophora also have. The Ctenophora also have that similar shape of the walnut. So that's why it is named as Ctenophora. This Ctenophora, okay, it is one of the animal which is exclusively marine. You know about the exclusively. Some TV channels, when they are showing some of the report and all, they'll write exclusively on TV9, like that, right? So here also it is exclusively found on marine habitat, that nowhere else. You cannot see in any other channels this report. This report is collected only by this channel. So likewise, these animals found only in the marine habitat, not anywhere else. Then symmetry. Okay, but again, see, majority of them are marine, but some few are there which found in the fresh water. That is not mentioned in your textbook, so I am not going to discuss more about that. Then about their symmetry. Do they have any symmetry? No, they have the symmetry. They have the symmetry known as radial symmetrical. They have the symmetry which is radial symmetrical. Then they are diploblastic and tissue level of organization. They show diploblastic in organization and tissue level of organization. Diploblastic and show the tissue level of organization. Okay. Now, very particular feature. So, let me tell you about a very important feature of this. Okay, which because of that itself, it is named as comb plates. In the textbook, you can see the diagram like a ball-like structure is shown, having some like this structures. Yes, here you can see there is a. You can start from here. 1, 2, like that. You can have to. Yes, there is a green colored line is shown, okay, showing these comb plates. So, comb plates. Comb, you know, right? For combing your hair, trimming your hair. So, like that, you can, here, it has 8 rows of vertical comb plates, okay. The body has 8 external rows of ciliated comb plates. Okay, the ciliary movement of these comb plates which helps for their movement. The locomotion of this Ctenophora is possible with the help of these comb plates. Okay, here you can write there is 8 rows of ciliated comb plates. Okay, here it is not only that much, it also have the cilia in that. Okay, in that it has the cilia like structures are there. This cilia like structures helps for their movement. So because of this presence of these 8 rows of ciliated comb plate, it is known as what's the name? It is sea walnuts or comb jellies. So the body wears 8 ciliated vertically arranged comb plates, okay, which helps for their locomotion. So because of that, it is known as comb jellies or comb see walnuts. Okay, and along with that you can see there is a two cilia will be attached on that. Okay, two large cilia also attached on that, which helps for their locomotion. So this is a structure of Ctenophora having the ciliated 8 rows of ciliated comb plates. Okay, so body this is important here in the Ctenophora. The body, why this name okay, the name is Ctenophora, it's sea walnuts or comb jellies. Reason is that the body bears the 8 rows of ciliated comb plates function. It helps for the locomotion. It is not only just for the look it has, it helps for their locomotion. What's the meaning of locomotion? Movement. Okay, movement and locomotion is different. Just showing this is also movement. Okay, moving from one place to another is a locomotion. Okay, so it helps for locomotion. Then digestion. Let us go with the next the feature. Digestion. Has both. Digestion is both extracellular and intracellular. Both extra and intracellular. You can collect more information with this. If you are not getting, I will give that. Okay, what is the extracellular and intracellular digestion? Okay, now next topic. I know that I have asked for the previous exam, just for the last exam, chapter wise test, this question was asked. Bioluminescence. It has come in one topic, but exactly this topic is here also. But I have said in the class, during the class hours, I have mentioned this topic. So bioluminescence, a general meaning of this is that releasing light. Okay, just stay with a single, very simple term. How can you write? It is a releasing light. But if you write releasing light, it's not enough here. Okay, so you have to write in a systematic way that the property of living organism to emit light. The property of living organism to emit light is known as bioluminescence. Bioluminescence means the property of living organisms to emit light is known as bioluminescence, and it is very well marked in the Ctenophora. This bioluminescence is well marked in the ctenophores. And one more thing, we have to say that here they are hermaphrodite. Ctenophores are hermaphrodite. So tell me, what is a hermaphrodite? You must complete that. What is hermaphrodite? I am not writing again. I have told in the phylum Porifera. So again that you write here also. Then next about their fertilization. Okay, then reproduction. Before going to fertilization, let us tell about the discuss about the reproduction. Reproduction here only by sexual means reproduction takes place. So only sexual reproduction can be found. Only sexual reproduction is found. So reproduction takes place only by sexual means, or only the sexual mode of reproduction is found in the ctenophores. Then fertilization. Okay, fertilization is internal fertilization. Okay, fertilization, internal fertilization, direct development. Is it? First, what is the process in the reproduction? Formation of gametes, then fusion of gametes, then the fertilization, then the development. So internal fertilization. So I really told about the what is the gametes here mentioned. What is about the gametes? It is mentioned here. It comes under the hermaphrodite. Then reproduction is by sexual method. Then fertilization, internal fertilization. So what about the development? Development is indirect development. Indirect, that means it has a larval stage. Before developing into a adult, it has a larval stage which does not resemble with the adult. That is known as the that is the meaning of indirect development. Then examples are here. What are the examples for this? Pleurodbranchia, and two examples are there. Pleurodbranchia, and one more example is Ctenophora. Only two examples are there. Pleurodbranchia and Ctenophora are the two examples for the phylum Coelenterata. Okay. Got clear about the phylum Ctenophora? So let me clear once again repeat this phylum Coelenterata, which is commonly known as sea walnuts or sea comb jellies. Okay, they are exclusively marine. They are radial symmetrical. They are diploblastic in organization, have tissue level of organization, and digestion is both extracellular and intracellular. They have 8 rows of ciliated complates which helps for their locomotion. Okay, and they have a special property of bioluminescence, means that is a property of living organism to emit light. Bioluminescence means the property of living organisms to emit light, or phenomenon by which the living organisms emit light. It's known as bioluminescence. Got it? Bioluminescence means the property of living organisms to emit light, or else you can also write it as the phenomenon by which living organisms emit light. Then they are hermaphrodite. There is only the sexual method of reproduction is found. Then fertilization is internal fertilization. Development is indirect, means that there is a larval stage. Then the examples for this Ctenophora are Pleurodbranchia and Ctenophora. So this much points you must remember for phylum Ctenophora. So how many phylum we completed by this? We have completed phylum Porifera, phylum next one Coelenterata, phylum Ctenophora. Okay, next we are going to study about the Platyhelminthes. What is that? Phylum Platyhelminthes, which is also known as the flatworms. Okay, so flatworms. Why it is named as flatworms? Any idea? Why it is named as flatworms? I'll show you the two specimens for that. Okay, I couldn't show you the Ctenophora. Okay, let me show in the next class. Hope you can see. There is a liver fluke is there inside. Okay, so the liver fluke is very flat. Okay, this looks like a very flat, so that's why this group is known as flatworms. See, this is another specimen of tapeworm. Okay, you can see how like a tape only it is extended and it is tied in the jar. You can see it is very flat. So that's why this complete phylum is named as flatworms. It's named as flatworms. So next phylum, take down, it is Platyhelminthes. This Platyhelminthes is dangerous in one aspect because many of them are parasitic and few are very useful as well as. For example, you might have heard leech. Okay, leech means if you have visited some of the regions with heavy rainfall or with having good moisture content like Yana or any Malabar regions having a good rainfall, those regions if you visit mainly during the rainy season and all, and which if you go near to the forest areas and all, you can get this leech bite. Nowadays, leech therapy also there. You might have heard about that. Leech therapy is useful in cleaning the blood. So this leech comes under, yes, leech comes under the phylum. Yes, leech comes under the next phylum. It is found in the phylum Annelida. Okay, we'll talk about that later. So here Platyhelminthes, why it is named as, it is structure, phylum Platyhelminthes. It is leaf-like, or it's like a leaf. Then also it is ribbon-like. Leaf-like, it is in the case of, I shown you the specimen of liver fluke. Ribbon-like in the case of tapeworm. But both are parasites. They are completely parasitic. So why the name is flatworms? Okay, this Platyhelminthes is known as flatworms because their body is dorso-ventrally flattened. Their body is dorso-ventrally flatworm. Why it is known as flatworms? Just mention for every phylum, no? In bracket you write the other name also. Use other color also, better. Okay. Flatworms, comb jellies, sea walnuts, sponges. Here it is flatworms. Why it is known as flatworms? Because their body is dorso-ventrally flattened. Their body is dorso-ventrally flattened. It is flattened like a leaf. It is flat like a ribbon. So that's why it's named as flatworms. They have a dorso-ventrally flattened body. Okay, they have a dorso-ventrally flattened body. So it is named as flatworms. Okay, and here these organisms, some of them are endoparasite. Some of them are endoparasites. Most of them, this phylum already I told you it's dangerous. Why? Because most of them are endoparasite. Most of them are endoparasite. Most of them are endoparasitic. Then another feature is that these are most found in, not only they parasitic in animals or human beings, even they are parasitic to the plants also. Okay, so these are mostly endoparasites found in animals, including human beings, and as well as sorry, it is not found in plants. Okay, it's different. So most of them endoparasite, including, yes, so here it is not only for animals it will attack, even in the human beings also it is found as a endoparasite, including human beings. Because tapeworms and all, it is one of the parasite which attacks very severely. Then let us understand more characteristic features of this phylum. What are the other features? They are triploblastic. They are triploblastic animal. Then what are the basis of classification we have used? So those criteria you can list out and you can write. Do they have coelom? No. So it is acoelomates. They are acoelomates. Then which level of organization they have? Do they have organ system? No, they have only the organ. So it is organ level of organization. They exhibit the organ level of organization. Then very important thing, as being they are the parasitic, they have a special structures known as hooks and SUCKER. Okay, those structures which is a parasitic nature, the parasites will have some special adhesive structures to attach with the host body. One of the structure is that's two structures which is found in this Platyhelminthes is hooks and sucker, which is found in this animal, which found mainly in the parasitic forms, which is found in the, okay. So we will continue the characteristic features of phylum Platyhelminthes. Okay, here we discussed about their features like why it is known as flatworms, because their body is dorsoventrally flattened body. Dorsoventrally means that any animal will have a dorsal side and ventral side. So this is our dorsal side and this is our ventral side. So likewise, in this case of Platyhelminthes, our body is not flat. Right, its dorsal side and ventral side is not similar and it's not flat. But in this case of Platyhelminthes, their body is completely flat. So that's why it is named as flatworms. And it is, most of them are endoparasitic. Endo means inside. Parasite means which depends on others for their food and survival. So these animals are endoparasitic, means which found inside the host body, and which is including human being, it is also a parasitic. And it is triploblastic animal. It is acoelomates. It have a organ level of organization. It have a structures like hooks and sucker, which helps for the attaching to the host body. Then it is found in the parasitic forms. Then next feature is that this parasitic nature. Okay, we are discussing now about their parasitic adaptations. Some of these Platyhelminthes absorb the nutrients. They may not have any special structures to absorb the nutrients from the host body. They directly from their body surface, they'll derive their nutrients from the host body. Now, for example, we are in the pandemic condition of coronavirus. So this coronavirus, you know that once it affects the lung, once it infects our body, inside the lungs, it starts to multiply. Okay, and there it starts to take over the machinery of our body cells. So that's here. Likewise, this parasitic, once they enter into the host body, they will start to absorb. Then some of them will have a special structures to derive nutrients, but they absorb directly from their body surface. Some of them will absorb the nutrients directly from their body surface. Then next feature. What are the next features? They have a special cells called as flame cells. Okay, flame cells, very important. Please mark it as important. Okay, the flame cells are specialized cells. Specialized cells which helps in, how it helps? It helps in osmoregulation, and for what else it helps? For osmoregulation, and what else it helps? Osmoregulation and excretion. It helps for osmoregulation and excretion. What are flame cells? Flame cells are the specialized cells found in the Platyhelminthes, which helps in osmoregulation and excretion. Now you may ask, what is osmoregulation means? Osmo, you have heard of osmosis, right? Yes, it is related to the fluid, the movement of ions from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Here, this osmoregulation means maintenance. So, maintenance of ionic balance in the body fluid is called as osmoregulation. We should also see, for example, in our body also, we need to maintain some of the fluid balance. So, fluid means just a water there. It must contain some of the ions, right? So, that fluid, even in our blood also it must contain some of the minerals, iron, like that. Okay, so those concentration has to be maintained in a regular manner. So in the body of some of the primitive animals or in the lower animals like in platyhelminthes also, they do not have a special mechanism of circulatory system and all. Instead, with what the cells they have, with that they have to maintain their body fluid concentration. That is carried out by a special cell called as flame cells, which is found in the phylum Platyhelminthes. Then can you name a one word for this? Hermaphrodite. So platyhelminthes are hermaphrodite. Then fertilization. How the fertilization is carried out? It is by internal fertilization. Fertilization is by internal fertilization. Then what else? Then they have a indirect development. Let us go with the next feature about their development. Same as of the previous one, they have a indirect development. That means they have a larval stage. Usually, those animals or worms, whatever they are parasitic, they will have a they will have a larval stage. For example, mosquitoes have a larval stage, right? So likewise, these platyhelminthes also, they are flatworms, they are the parasitic forms, they too have the larval stage. Indirect development through many larval stages. Now I said they have the larval stage, parasitic forms, which is one of the adaptive forms for them to survive as a parasite. So this indirect development having many larval stages is one of the peculiar feature of this platyhelminthes. Then some members like planaria. You heard of planaria, right? So planaria have a high regeneration capacity. High regeneration capacity means this planaria, that body structure will be almost like this. Okay, so they'll have a structures like this. Okay, you may think like it is a cone ice cream, right? So here actually the planaria body structure is like that. Okay, so any part of the body is get detached or cut, they will regain that body part. Okay, so regeneration. So how the lizard's tail will regenerate? Okay, only tail it can regenerate. So here the complete body can be regenerated. So high regeneration capacity. Example in which you can see that high regeneration capacity, it is in planaria. Then next feature is that they parasitic adaptations. Let me tell about some of the parasitic adaptations, which is important. So 3 features you must write down. Absence of tough resistive surface. Okay, so absence of epidermis and tough resistant horny cuticle. See, likewise, if you take the example of any other cockroach or any other arthropods and all, those animals, they have a tough body surface to resist themselves in the external environment. But in this case of this platyhelminthes, they do not have that tough exoskeleton. That is one of the adaptive feature to survive better as an parasite. Okay, so then reduced sense organs. Sense organs also will be very much reduced. So that is how they can adapt. One more feature to succeed as a parasite. Then adhesive structures are there. Adhesive structures already I said to get attached. Okay, some gum plate, double side gum, and why do they have the double side gum? To attach, anything has to be attached on that upper or down surface, you can use it. So likewise, this this platyhelminthes to have that adhesive structures which helps for to get attached to the host body. Then next is they have a absence of organs of locomotion. They need not to move from one place to another. They can get attached to the host body and can survive there itself. So why they need of these locomotory organs? This is what are the this is one of the adaptations developed in the parasitic forms. So please note down that what are the adaptive features of platyhelminthes. Okay, adaptive features, parasitic adaptations in platyhelminthes. Absence of epidermis, tough exoskeleton is absent in them, tough resistant horny cuticle is absent. Cuticle means outermost surface is not very hard. Then they have reduced sense organs. Sense organs are not well developed. They are reduced. Then they do not have the organs of locomotion, as well as they also have the adhesive structures for attaching to the host body. Now let us understand the example of that. One example already I shown you. The two examples, it is a Taenia. Taenia means tapeworm. Then one more, liver fluke. It is a Phaseola hepatica. Taenia solium. Then Phaseola examples are Taenia solium is a complete name of that species name and the genus name. Taenia solium is another, that common name is tapeworm. If you are interested, you just find out how the tapeworm is removed from an infected body. Okay. Since it is a very long, okay, once it get infected into the animal body and all, even in the human body it used to attack. So they use the pencil, it seems, to roll that tapeworm because it is very lengthy. So removing and keeping as such, it is not easy. So they use the pencils to rotate and to remove that tapeworm inside the body. So Taenia solium is a tapeworm. Then another is Phaseola hepatica, which is a liver fluke. Okay, so this platyhelminthes, you can remember it is as a parasitic form. Completely have the many parasitic flatworms. Liver fluke. So let me revise what is related to the platyhelminthes. So we understood that they have leaf-like or ribbon-like structures. That's why it is known as flatworms. The main reason is that their body surface is dorso-ventrally flattened. Then they have, most of them are endoparasite, including human beings. That means including us also. Then they are triploblastic animal, coelomates, organ level of organization, okay, not organ system. They have a hooks and suckers to attach to the host body, and some of them will absorb the nutrients directly through their body surface, and they have a special cells called as flame cells which helps to maintain their osmoregulation and excretion. Then here they are hermaphrodite. The internal fertilization is carried out with indirect development having many larval stage. This is one important point here. Then they have a high regeneration capacity, for example in planaria. Examples for this Taenia solium and Phaseola hepatica. Then some of the adaptive features. Okay, what are the parasitic adaptation in this platyhelminthes is that absence of sense organs, absence of hard horny cuticle. Then they have a reduced sense organs and reduced